The opener on the main card, we'll talk about this later, could serve as the winner of that gets the winner of the main event. So there's a lot of big stakes on the line here tonight.
Batir Akhmedov taking on Kenneth Sims Jr. in the opener of tonight's triple header. But this is the first of 3 prelim offerings from us here on the Showtime Boxing Countdown Show. Round 1, Justin Viloria taking on Pedro Pinillo.
That's it.
There we go. We are on a roll right there.
Two southpaws.
This will be a 6th-round contest in the super featherweight division, 130 pounds. As you see, Viloria in the white trunks, the black gloves, a native of Whittier, California. Of course, both his father, uncle, in fact, both sides of his family coming from Hawaii.
A left hand already got through for Viloria, where he got his head off the center line going at the same time as Pinillo, and it got through.
Viloria putting on the pressure early. Just 18 years old, as we mentioned, but we talked to him this week. Despite just 1 pro bout up to this point, the confidence is there. Let's see how he can do against a young veteran himself in Pinillo.
Boy, a minute in, they're just standing in front of each other, trading here a little bit.
It is the Viloria family style to make fun fights and make it happen, as you're seeing that from young Justin here.
Some trunk movement from Pinillo to draw out some of the attacks there from Viloria. By the way, a right hand got through for Pinillo, and there's a couple of lefts kind of strafing over the top as well.
This fight largely being contested in the center of the ring as both fighters digging in. Good right hook to the body there from Viloria. Sweeping left hand may have hurt Pinillo.
Pinillo heavy on that front leg, just kind of leaning into some of these punches. I would say not quite enough defense for that stance to be the appropriate choice here. And he eats 2 uppercuts for it right on cue.
Pinillo, just 22 years old, out of Cali, Colombia. See if he can make it out of the first round here against a very aggressive Justin Viloria. Good left hand and the right on the combo to briefly stagger Pinillo, who does seem to have his legs under him.
Barely.
Love the aggression early on here, Luke.
Yeah, these guys are, this is a sprint through the first round. I realize it's not a long fight with only 6 rounds, but the pace here has been significant.
Our first of 3 bouts here on the Showtime Boxing Countdown Show. The Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas is the venue. As you see Justin Viloria in the white trunks.
There just isn't nearly enough defensive responsibility from Pinillo. You can see him leaning over like that. Hands are still down. He doesn't have a high guard. And it'd be one thing if he were presenting the target and then removing it with significant head or trunk or shoulder movement, but he's just really not.
Viloria not showing a ton of respect for the punching power of Pinillo as they landed hard hooks at the same time. Good first round in terms of both feeling each other out and getting into the action early.
Ooh.
Stiff jabs from Viloria as round 1 comes to a close.
Easy round to score. Viloria doing by far the better work, although he got tagged a little bit there as well. We should be honest about it. But again, his second pro fight, that's to be expected. His opponent, I think, had 6 or 7 fights coming into this contest. So already, though, I think you've seen pretty great things from Viloria. Here's that right hand. He kind of rolls through to anticipating the hook. Tight punches here in combination. Kind of head hunting a little bit. Maybe you could mix it up, but still certainly putting Pinillo on the back foot and those jabs getting through as well. There he is framing and then going a left hand, not moving at the end of it, which is why the left hook from Pinillo got through, but still there's one person kind of dictating the offense here and then one person responding, and then you can see the difference.
1 round complete in the super featherweight bout. As we mentioned, Justin Viloria, his father Dominic in his corner as head trainer, former kickboxer and boxer himself. But his uncle, Brian Viloria, someone we know very well in the boxing game, retired in 2018. Former U.S. Olympian from the state of Hawaii and multi-time world champion. Here's round 2 for Justin Viloria and Pedro Pinillo in the red trunks. Pinillo, 5-1 record himself coming in. Did suffer the first loss of his pro career, Pinillo, last April. That came in Mexico, a 4-round majority decision loss to Alejandro Garcia.
Well, they're starting to just play tag here.
Counter right hands from Viloria. Again, not afraid to feel the power of Pinillo and stand in and counter back.
Yeah, you can see why right away Viloria is getting a much better clear sense of range, putting Pinillo at the end of his punches by and large. He did need the left hand there, but the jab is working for him, and you can see him kind of roll a little bit when the right hand comes through.
We did ask Pinillo about that first loss last time out last April. He said, when you aren't fighting at home, you are 2 to 3 points behind. He was aware of that situation. He calls the loss, it is what it was his exact quote about that loss. See if he can win over the judges this evening.
Pinillo having some good moments here with some straight punches. You can see now he's presenting a target and finally moving it rather than just sort of staying there. And when he throws the hooks kind of wide without much setup or feinting, yeah, Viloria gets out of the way. Some of the straight punches are having some effect getting through.
Left to the chin from Viloria and another one. Unloading with power shots. Viloria, though, giving Pinillo a chance to strike back. Coming up on 1 minute to go here in round 2.
Boy, I got to tell you, Viloria doing definitely his best work when he can get Pinillo right up against the ropes where he's got him now.
Looked like Pinillo's glove may have touched the canvas. Referee Thomas Taylor allowing the action to continue. And they are throwing punches here. Good body shots from Pinillo, trying to answer back with uppercuts.
Yeah, I just don't like this style for him. He's having much better success with linear punches combined with movement, right? You see him rolling, and then usually if he can get his feet moving as well, changing angles, not staying in the same place, that actually has been pretty successful for him. But when he gets this, phone booth fighting, head-to-head, chest-to-chest almost, I just feel like Viloria, he appears to be the stronger of the two.
Pinillo wasn't that concerned about Viloria's family name or history, saying, in the end, I do what I do inside the ring, and it's up to Viloria to make those adjustments. I haven't necessarily seen adjustments from Viloria. I've just seen full-on volume punching and walking his opponent down.
This round is much more competitive. See what I mean? When he touches and moves, he actually has a little bit more success. In fairness, Viloria, again, we want to be clear, this is his second pro fight, but he doesn't move his head a lot either from what we've seen thus far. A guy who's got decent speed, good timing, a little bit of movement, you can do something with that. I think the results speak for themselves in that regard.
Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell here with you in Jersey City on the call. The action you're seeing inside the ring in the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas. The first of our 3 bouts here on Showtime Boxing Countdown, all building, of course, to the start of tonight's triple header, 9 p.m. Eastern, when Rolando Romero and Ismael Barroso meet for the vacant WBA world title at 140 pounds. You like a lot what you see from young Viloria, but certainly I like what you said there about the lack of head movement, the willingness to absorb punishment. He knows what his name brings to this game. He knows what opportunities like this, a 6-round fight in just his second pro bout, the chance to get that big showcase knockout and announce yourself. You like to see a little bit more poise and patience in getting off his punches, though.
Again, this isn't relatively speaking, this is a very experienced opponent. I can understand why breaking through some of those early challenges would be difficult.
Boy, the aggressor early on with that jab. Good counter shots, though, by Pinillo, and a left over the top slip through.
That left hook is money.
Stop.
I think Pinillo is proving himself to be a more worthy adversary than perhaps Viloria was expecting. When we spoke to Viloria, he definitely wasn't dismissing him. I just don't know if he fully recognized the threat.
I mentioned Viloria had grown up in Whittier, California. He said he was next-door neighbors with rising young MMA star Aaron Pico, who, of course, has backgrounds in all disciplines of combat sports, including boxing, where he's put in time in the Wildcard Gym under Freddie Roach in Los Angeles. How about sharpening iron in the neighborhood pickup games there, Luke?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Also a Showtime fighter because he competes for Bellator MMA.
Aaron Pico at one point called the biggest prospect in the history of MMA. Let's see what young 18-year-old Justin Viloria can do with his own hype here in his second pro fight.
Well, I'll tell you what I like from Viloria. He's well balanced, right? He has his feet under him. You don't see him reaching too much. You don't see him kind of have to catch himself as he rolls or he throws. He got pushed there, but in general, when he is attacking, he's got his weight under him. But defensively, there's some questions about that low right hand at times, as well as the lack of head or trunk movement. Good right hand, two good right hands from Viloria, getting in between the punches of Pinillo.
Fast and furious action once again here in round 3. You see the nickname of Pinillo, Buffalo, on the waist right there.
That's right.
Is that translated to Buffalo?
It is, yeah. And he spells it correctly. That's how they spell it, so. Good right hand. I like it when Viloria is throwing in combination. First two don't get through, the third tends to.
All that wealth of experience in the family name. Justin Viloria told us the advice he gets from dad and uncle, don't get comfortable. It's a game of consistency. Consistency is what it takes to be great. So see if Viloria can continue to work behind that jab. Although Pinillo's certainly in this fight, Luke.
Well, I would say Viloria's kind of gotten away from the jab this round a little bit. You're seeing some elements of it. It's a little smothered. There's a lead hook. I think when he was sitting things up off that jab, and again, I like the body punching you see a little bit there. I definitely like the combination punching. I just like to see him start working the jab a little bit more. He's got a good one, and it's landing. There's at the end of the round. You finally get to see a little bit of it.
3 rounds in the book here in this 130-pound bout, scheduled for 6 rounds. As young Justin Viloria, and just as we mentioned, his second pro fight. Here's a look back at the action in round 3. That lead right hook was money.
Beautiful. Well-timed. Caught him in between his steps on the half beat. There's another one in between his punches. So that's just excellent timing and location and placement. All of these. You can see Viloria, a well-schooled, well-trained young fighter, working on some things, but he's got some clear ability. You got timing like that, boy, you can do something with it.
Viloria turned pro in April of this year, came at Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California on the undercard of Sebastian Fundora's upset knockout loss to Brian Mendoza. Finished off Za'Darius Smith in the first round. But Viloria told us he's been sparring pro boxers with championship experience since he was 16. Mm-hmm. So this experience, this showcase opportunity this evening, doesn't seem like it's the lights being too bright for young Justin Viloria.
Also, I think that last round was a better round for him. Getting back on that jab, you see, and putting combinations together. Boy, I like that.
Furious left crosses being thrown by Viloria.
Yeah, it looks to me like his corner told him to get back on the jab between rounds.
Viloria told us he felt after watching tape of Pinillo that he wouldn't have a lot of issues here. He was confident that his boxing skills and also his size would ultimately take over.
Yeah, now he's starting to really cook. He had him right to the body, then right over the top and back-to-back. Look at that lead right hook for Viloria. Starting to do some good work, especially when he's mixing it up with the jab. Again, also, BC, where does he do his best work? Where do you see Pinillo hurt the most? Right up against the ropes.
Absolutely. Less than 2 minutes to go here in round 4. Pro fight number 2 for 18-year-old Justin Viloria. He's largely been the aggressor, and he's dealt fine with the counter shots of Pedro Pinillo. Viloria said he got into amateur wrestling as a young kid, but once he put on the boxing gloves, he felt it. This was the direction his career would be headed, and he may have Pinillo hurt here as he chips away with big power shots.
Yeah, that's it.
Referee Thomas Taylor has seen enough. It'll go down as a 4th-round TKO as 18-year-old Justin Viloria, now 2-0 with 2 knockouts in his young pro career.
Gotta say, I don't mind that stoppage at all. In fact, I think it's pretty good. I was just about to say, when you noted it, you're not seeing at that point Pinillo throw back hardly at all. He was kind of stumbling around and just taking it. And again, we're talking about a guy in his 7th fight and a guy in his 2nd pro fight. The referee is just going to be a little bit more aggressive about looking out for their health than they would be if it was a 12-round contest. So, to me, completely justified, BC.
The nickname is chosen. That's what Justin Viloria feels he has been for this sport, the family history, but he looks good through 2 pro fights. You'd like him to work on some head movement, maybe not be willing to take as much shots in return, but he knew he was the bigger fighter. He knew he had the technical advantages, And the speed and power seemed to be in his side as well.
Honestly, once he got back on that jab and started throwing in combination with stuff he was building in the round previously, he gets back to it, closes the show with it. You're right, there are some defensive issues to work on, again, through 2 pro fights. Of course there's going to be. It's totally understandable. But we look back at what he did well in this contest, the timing, right? Listening to his corner, the accuracy. There's just a lot of really great, strong boxing skill for that young man to build on.
Let's look back at the finish here from Justin Viloria in round 4.
Look at that, using frames, short hooks. That right hook was money in the last couple of rounds. You can see him landing cleanly, and that was why the referee stepped in, just accepting punishment without really throwing back.
Good tan game there for referee Thomas Taylor, just the same, Luke.
My man's been at the weight room a little bit, huh?
California-based, of course, but good punching here from Viloria to force that stoppage.
Very fair, very fair. And I'll say this, too, about Viloria. He had to earn it. He had to earn it. This was not an opponent who just looked out of shape, who just was there for a paycheck. He was there to win. He had more experience than his opponent, and didn't matter in the end.